This is the Engage Your Destiny podcast, where your destiny is our mission. Serving our active military, veterans, and families.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Engage Your Destiny podcast. I'm Ben Peterson. I am blessed and honored to be the founder and CEO of Engage Your Destiny, which is combating suicide with faith in the military. Before I get into our message this week, I want to share with you the great work that Engage Your Destiny is doing all over the world. We have soldiers that are deployed all over the European front, where there's this standstill between Russia and Ukraine. And I'm here to tell you guys, they're not getting paid any more money to be over there. They're away from their families. We've gotten reports that there are European military that are spitting at our soldiers, that are playing pranks on them, stealing their stuff, and getting bullied. And I'm here to tell you guys that, like, our soldiers may not be in direct combat in the European front, but dude, they're discouraged and they're going through some challenging situations. So you can support them and the work that Engage Your Destiny is doing by going on to engageyourdestiny.org, checking out our work and our website, and dude, make a donation to support as we are ministering, supporting to, and helping develop the faith of our military that are all over the world. I also want to encourage you to get a copy of Engage Your Destiny, Practical Ways to Run After Your God-Given Purpose. I was so blessed to have Mark Peterson, a New York Times bestseller, endorse this book and put his stamp of approval on it. And he said, Engage Your Destiny will leave you inspired to navigate your own journey toward fulfillment. So these are the practical ways to run after your God-given purpose. And I'm telling you guys, you have a God-given purpose. It's going to come with some suffering. It's going to come with some challenges, but dude, it's going to be worth it. So get a copy of this book. You can get it on Audible and anywhere that books are sold. Okay, so now we're getting into a very clear message today of how if ChatGPT were Satan, this is how he would destroy our generation. Let's get after it. So we took a little time to research on ChatGPT. Dude, if you were Satan, how would you destroy this generation? And this is what it said. It would divide the church. He would highlight hypocrisy, scandals, and divisions within the church to sow distrust and cynicism. He would also encourage a consumer mindset where church becomes about what we can get rather than serving and growing in the community of those who are around us. He would shift our focus from the gospel to political or social issues, creating division instead of unity. So today, I want to focus on with you specifically division and consumption and the ways that the enemy is using those to destroy our lives. So there is a hero from World War Vietnam, I like to call it, which his name was Robert Reisner, and he was a POW in North Vietnam. This is one of the most inspiring stories of resilience and leadership and faith in the U.S. military. Now, Robbie Reisner was flying over Hanoi and he got shot down and captured, okay? He was already a decorated fighter pilot, and when he was shot down over North Vietnam on 1965, he was leading a bombing mission in his F-105 Thunder Chief, just dropping bombs on the enemy position. After ejecting, he was quickly captured by the North Vietnamese and taken to the infamous Hoi Lo prison, which is better known as the Hanoi Hilton. But it ain't no Hilton you and I have stayed at. He was in torture in solitary confinement for more than 7 years. He endured brutal torture, starvation, and psychological torment. Dude, the North Vietnamese tried to break him through extended periods of solitary confinement and frequent beatings. One of the worst tortures that he endured was what was called the infamous ropes treatment. And he would have these ropes that would be tied so tightly around his shoulders that they would actually dislocate. But bro, despite all this, Reisner refused to break. He led the POW resistance, and he became a natural leader among the POWs. He developed this covert communication system, and this system included tapping on walls and using hand signals to keep morale high, and they created their own language out of this. He also would organize secret church services and encourage their fellow prisoners to resist their captors by maintaining their dignity and their faith. In 1971, The North Vietnamese wanted to parade Reisner before journalists in an attempt to humiliate him, as well as show that he was absolutely fine. This was like a communist tactic. And when they asked about his treatment, he simply responded, "They've done their worst to me, and I have survived." Just before going in front of these journalists, Reisner beat himself on the actual bars of his prison. He knew that the North Vietnamese wanted to use him for propaganda, so he smashed his face against these bars of his cell to make himself look battered and unrepresentable. His goal in this was to prevent the North Vietnamese from using him as a symbol of a well-treated prisoner, so that they couldn't propagate that lie. This act of defiance showed his incredible resilience and commitment to resisting enemy manipulation. Even at his great personal cost, despite all these years of torture, Reisner refused to let his captors control his spirit or break his will. I want to talk to you a little bit more about these secret worship services because, dude, this takes guts to go after. Despite all these restrictions and brutal punishments, Reisner would organize these covert services among the prisoners. And these were gatherings that, I mean, my goodness, like you'd be killed if you got caught. And prisoners sometimes were killed, they were beaten, they were put into solitary confinement, but these guys fought for it to be able to gather together to worship. And Reisner believed that the power of faith could sustain him and his men through this entire ordeal. He once said that the most important thing he did in prison was leading those Sunday church services. They would whisper hymns. They would share scripture from memory, and they would pray together. They'd often use these ingenious methods to signal and to organize without being detected. Their entire focus was, how do we get together and how do we seek after God? Reisner said, "I felt God's presence so strongly, I could almost reach out and touch him." That quote captures the powerful role of faith for many POWs. So I want to ask you, man, what can we learn from Reisner's story and the context of how Satan might be destroying our country? I want to talk to you about division. The division that is going on in America is absolutely unbelievable. And division happens when we aren't going through actual persecution and suffering. And it's actually humans, it's in our nature to create suffering in conflict when we're apart from God. Our human nature, when we're separated from God, is more prone to destroy than to create. You see, God is a creator, and he is the one who inspires people to build and to dream and to create. Right now in the world, there are over 33,000 denominations of Christianity after the splitting of the Catholic Church under Martin Luther. And isn't it amazing that it continues to split time and time again, and yet we still aren't fulfilling our mission of reaching the entire world for Jesus? I want to tell you this unbelievable story from the founding of the underground church in China. You see, the underground church in China all started around the Bible, and all they read was the Bible. And they believed that they needed to do everything that the Bible said and follow it to a T. So they were baptizing people, they were preaching the gospel, they were leading people to Jesus, they were praying for the sick, they were doing everything that it says in the Bible. And then in the 1980s, there were these whispers of, the underground church was starting to happen in China. And so America started sending all of these theological books from Baptists and Pentecostals and all these different denominations. And you know what happened? They began to split. They began to disagree about theology and all these different things. They began to fight and they began to war, and it became completely fragmented. And it wasn't until one of the leaders of the entire underground church movement, his name was Brother Yun, called all of these fathers together, and he held up a Bible and he said, "Guys, what are we doing? This is completely dividing us. Why are we reading all these other books? We need to just get back to the Word of God when we were friends and we were unified." And this is what happens when we start to get comfortable, when we start to focus on what we can consume, when we start to focus on over like colors of carpet and all these kinds of things, and we get away from the truth of God's word. When we aren't suffering, we're not focused on God, and we divide and we destroy. But we go through hard times, and when we are struggling through things, we unify, and we can create such beauty in the world by being unified. Now, moving into this consumer mindset, and this is focused on what we can get over what we can give. Reisner's brothers were totally focused on what they could do for each other. They were completely focused on how they could build each other up and protect each other and work together. But America, we've gotten so focused on consumption. Did you know that America consumes 19 million barrels of oil a day for 334 million people? China consumes 16 million barrels a day for 1.4 billion people. So China takes in almost as much oil as we do, and we have a fifth of the people. Did you know that you take in more information in one day than someone did 100 years ago in their entire lifetime? Now, I want to take a moment and I want to talk to you guys about digital marketing. The purpose of digital marketing is to sell things, and it is to create an urgency or a desire in you, the consumer, to go and buy what a company is putting out there. And the most successful way to do this is through using digital marketing as an agent of fear and making you feel like you are not enough. That's why when you look at influencers and endorsers, they use celebrities, they use hot people, they use people who have millions of subscribers, all these things that you do or may not have. And they basically say, if you buy this product, if you do this thing, if you subscribe to this, you are then going to find what you're looking for, and you are going to feel like you are enough. You're going to find success. You're going to find fulfillment. You're going to find all of these things that you are searching and you are longing for. Now, what's terrifying about this is that in 2007, around $37 billion was spent on digital marketing. Do you know how much is going to be spent in 2025? Over $1 trillion. That's over $1 trillion that is being weaponized against your mental health and your identity and who you are to make you feel like you are not enough so that you will go consume and buy and put in. And it is this depth of the longing of the human heart to find connection, to find people. There was this incredible study of these rats that were placed in cages, and they put a rat by himself with two different water droppers. One had water and the other one had heroin in it, okay? Every time the rat discovered the heroin-laced water, and he heroined himself to death and he died all by himself, okay? Then they took a large group of rats and they built like rat heaven, okay? All of these just wonderful toys and things to play with and great food and community and bonding with other people, other rats, I should say. And they put both of those water bottles in there, and some of the rats used the heroin, but they never got addicted to it, and they never got to the point where they were killing themselves on it. What is the point? The point is that we as Americans, as people, we are searching for connection. We are searching for connection with other humans. We're searching for connection with our God. And yet our world is completely built on consumption. And so I want to take a minute and I want to talk to you guys about how you can shift your mindset from a consumer to someone who is a builder. And I think the best way to do that is to illustrate the difference between a babysitter and a coach, okay? I want to imagine that you are going on a date and you hire a babysitter to watch your kids. Now let me ask you, what are the expectations of your babysitter, all right? What is it? Keep the kids alive, all right? You're not expecting them to go and do all these amazing things and get prepared for Harvard or anything like that. No. You're asking them to keep the kids alive. And that's where I want to say to you that coaches build teams. They build greatness while babysitters pass the time. Coaches create organization. Babysitters just want to finish their shift. Coaches want to build a dynasty, something that lasts for decades to impact their arena. Coaches know how their players are wired. They know how they think. They study them. They pay attention to their team. They have an active vision for their team and for their family, okay? Babysitters are literally just passing the time, okay? And I remember a time in my life having young kids and man, just needing a break where I just wanted to get to bedtime and I wanted to go consume things. And isn't it amazing that after we spend a day giving and living and sharing with people, instead of seeking connection, we seek things that we can consume. So what am I downstairs doing? I'm scrolling on my phone or I'm watching Netflix and I'm just consuming. And yet I feel less satisfied than when I began because it's never going to fill the need and the longing that's in my heart. So instead, our evenings, my evening, has changed to being filled with reading, with spending time with God, with actually thinking, pausing, journaling, doing things that is going to let me digress from the day and to reconnect with my surroundings, with my Creator, with my wife, reconnecting with the things that are actually going to fill me up. And now I'm not going to let you introverts off, okay? Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you need to go and scroll and watch shows and do all those things. If you're an introvert, it means that you have connected with other people and you need to take time to connect with yourself and with God, the person who created you, the God who designed you, and to actually find your place in Him and connect to Him. Are you going to babysit your job as a consumer? Or are you going to lead and drive change? Are you going to babysit your friends? Or you're going to be a voice that impacts their future? Are you just going to stand by and let them make horrible decisions? Or are you going to call them into greatness? Are you going to babysit your destiny by just consuming and doom scrolling? Or are you going to get on your knees and seek after God? This is why a life of service creates significance. A life of walking with God is going to open doors for you and the people that He has called you to connect with. So as I close this podcast, guys, I just want to bring us back to what we actually are longing for. We're longing for connection. The average 21-year-old boy, by the time he reaches 21 years old, has spent 10,000 hours on video games. That's 10,000 hours spent achieving and conquering absolutely nothing that could have been spent becoming a master. It takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something, to become a master guitar player, a master writer, a master designer, a master painter. Think, you guys, of everything that we are wasting, everything that we are giving away, the significance that we are missing out on because we're so busy being divided and we're so busy consuming. Robert Reisner was in the position that he was in against his will, but he took the suffering that he went through and he created meaning out of it. He created impact out of it. He created unification around it. And so this is where I want to challenge you today. How can you create some godly suffering in your life to bring yourself back to the place where you're not consuming and you're not dividing around with the people that God has called you to be with? What suffering can you bring into your life? What is your training schedule of working out? What is your schedule for fasting? Are you fasting once a week and denying yourself food? Do you ever take cold showers and actually deny yourself the warmth of that comfort? Do you ride in your car and turn the music off and just sit and think? Do you ever sign up for a goal or create an accountability buddy so that you can go after something that is really going to be hard and is going to push you? Right now, I'm working on my second book and I set the rough date timeline for Father's Day in June this year. It's pushing me, it's challenging me, and my coach is holding me accountable to it to go and achieve it. Nothing great is ever going to be produced when you are comfortable. And the source of comfort is being met in the place of consumption, where all we do is consume, and yet we are never satisfied. And so God is He is drawing us closer to Him because all things are possible to him who believes. So that's where I want to challenge you today. Are you actually believing for something that God can then fulfill? Because without faith, it's impossible to believe Him because He's a rewarder of those who believe in Him and diligently seek His face. So, what are you going to believe Him for? What are you going to seek His face for? What are you going to dream for? And what comfort can you remove from your life so that you can start living in significance? Thanks so much, you guys. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.